Welcome to another episode of The Brand Called You, a podcast and podcast show that brings you leadership lessons, knowledge, experience, and wisdom from thousands of successful individuals from around the world. I'm your host, Ashutosh Garg, and today I'm delighted to welcome an accomplished young man from Gurgaon, India, Mr. Jai Gupta. Jai, welcome to the show.
Thank you so much, sir, for having me.
Thank you. Jai is the founder of Grapes Club. So, Jay, let's start talking about Grapes Club. Tell me about the venture and your motivation to start.
So, the word Grapes Club comes from grapes, the fruit.
Yeah.
Whenever we see grapes, they always come in bunches. So, they signify what happiness is and what harmony is. So, similarly, we at Grapes Club, we endeavor to create a digital platform for the disabled community. I'm myself a physically challenged individual, and growing up in my teens, especially, I found out that there is a great need, there's a great emotional gap between what I have and what friends I'm getting.
Correct.
So, in order to solve that problem, I wanted to create a digital place wherein all the disabled people could come in and connect with each other.
Wonderful.
Growing up, I saw my parents they struggle to find products that would help me. So in that sense, I wanted to create a one-stop shop wherein we could find all the products and services which are relevant for this community so that they can enjoy, because money we all have.
Correct.
But the means to spend it is what is always missing.
Correct.
So that is one area which we are working. Thirdly, we impart disabled people the knowledge about what's happening in the ecosystem, what all news is new, what all government schemes are coming. So with respect to that, this content flowing onto the platform.
Okay.
So this is the broad.
Fantastic. So let me start asking you a very basic question, Jay. What are some of the challenges that are faced by members of the disabled community in our country?
Sure. So only the bearer knows where the shoe pinches.
Correct.
For a person to understand what a disabled person is going, it's not very easy.
Correct.
I found that people are not at all educated for that matter, that how should they react with a person who is disabled, or how should they invite him or her. So with respect to that, there's always an introversion in this community.
Yeah.
People who are disabled, they tend to stay in homes, they tend to stay away from a social gathering.
Right.
So that's a very big challenge, because in the end, we all have to work at some place or the other, and we have to move on in the world.
Correct.
So that is one big challenge that this community is facing.
Yeah.
The second is there is no knowledge. There's an information asymmetry. Personally, if I show you, if I don't know if the camera is lying, but there is a bike behind me. Right. So that bike is what I use when I'm not wearing my aids.
Yeah.
So something like that can help millions of people in India as well as abroad.
Right.
So to solve that information asymmetry, people have the money, but they don't know what they want to buy. So to solve that, we are getting a one-stop shop ready for these people.
Okay.
So these are the two major challenges which our community faces, apart from a few minors, like there's no one place where they can get all the news related to this community government schemes. Right now, just a few months back, the government announced UDID cards for the disabled people. So regarding that, all the forms or what all priorities are need to be done and what all prerequisites have to be submitted, those things were missing. So on that sense, this content is very important.
Very interesting. Very interesting. And you spoke about two challenges. One is the social challenge, and the other is the information asymmetry. How are you, through Grapes Club, addressing these two major challenges?
Okay, so the first is the social challenge. Yeah. So Grapes Club is an app, it's a platform available across all devices. So we have a chat system which is in place. So what people have the freedom to do is they can come onto the platform, log in, and then they can talk with each other, because they'll feel that sense of belongingness here, which is missing.
Mhm.
So there's a specially designed chat system for the visually impaired as well, for the locomotive disabled as well, and the people who have amputed hands, so they have to use their voice recognition system.
Mm.
So we have talkback and voice access enabled, so
Mm.
that they can use the application freely and to its fullest.
Okay.
So on chat, you got people. So people have started making their own groups. I was delighted to see just the other day that about 100, visually impaired people, they have made their groups and they're chatting with each other. So I
On
was added in
on
that.
your app?
Yeah, yeah.
Wonderful. Okay.
So we have that. We have jobs group. We have NGOs group. So so this is how we are initiating a thought of belongingness. That yes, if you have a kind of a disability, or even if you are just an elder person looking for a product or a service, come to Grapes Club. Your ailment, your something will be there to support you
Mm.
for your things.
Oh,
So that's the
wonderful.
first challenge.
Okay.
The second challenge, which is the information asymmetry, so that's been partially solved through the content. Right now, we are working on the marketplace side, so it's all new tech development and stuff. We'll be doing a plug and play. But right now, we are putting up content. So there's some small products such as a hand stick, which I used to pick up stuff from ground.
Mm.
So that's available on Amazon. But again, people don't know how to search. Even if
Mm.
it's available on Amazon or other marketplaces, huge marketplaces, they don't know what to search for.
Mm.
So through that, we are currently solving, and in coming times, we'll have our own marketplace for them to purchase.
Wonderful. When did you start Grapes Club, Jay?
It's so officially 1 year back
Mm.
during August.
Mm.
So and before that, 6 months of preparation, technology development, and other
Mm.
prerequisites.
Wonderful. So, like you mentioned to me about, some people have started a community of 100 or 120 people. What are some of your early successes?
My early successes include that today we have a strong community of 10,000 users
Wow.
in India. We have about 20-25 providers onboarded onto the platform.
Mm.
So if we download the application, we'll find out that the first homepage is where you get all the content.
Mm.
The second page is where you get the chat, and the third page, which is very relevant for the communities, is the providers and services side. So
Mm.
it's like a listing kind of a thing, wherein it's everything is free. So you can contact the provider or the service product giver,
Mm.
and you can chat with them, and they can get you the product or service you are want. So
Mm.
this is one thing, and secondly, the major success was that people have started indulging the content these days. They understand what they want. They have started opening up to each other.
Mm.
So yeah, so that's what we have.
And since you're also an e-commerce site, and I'll come to e-commerce, how large is the market that you are addressing?
So the global assistive tech market is valued at about 30 to 35 billion dollars. So that with India hosting 18% of world's population and disability being such a big part of our economy, we
Mm.
believe that the Indian market is way above $1 billion.
Okay. Wow, that's big. That's big.
Yeah, that's huge.
Mm.
Our estimates suggest that around 7 to 8 crore people in India are disabled. They
Mm.
will have some sort of disability now. They have their own bifurcation. Some are locomotive, some are visually impaired, some are hearing impaired,
Correct.
some become disabled due to accidents happening.
Mm.
So there's a report which states that around 1,500 people they turn disabled every day due to accidents.
1,500.
Yeah, 1,500.
Wow.
So
Wow.
that's a Google report. So from there, we understood that it's a big challenge. If we go out in the world, we find that there are lots and lots of things happening.
Hmm. And how are you leveraging technology to connect a lot of these communities to the global economy?
So what we have done is that we have chosen our battles. So
Hmm.
currently, we are working on India, and we have chosen few states. So
Hmm.
we are working in Delhi NCR, Lucknow region, which means UP, and some parts of Maharashtra.
Hmm.
So, so The tech here is that we have
Mm.
a platform which is designed specially for them. It's a very
Right.
simple UI UX system.
Mm.
You have plenty of features which can engage you for a good amount of time,
Mm.
and you have a chat system that you can engage to.
Mm.
So this is one part of what we are trying to solve through
Mm.
the tech.
Mm. Okay. And when you talk about taking Grapes Club global, what are some of the challenges that you foresee?
So the few challenges which we have identified is
Mm.
that first of all, which country, which global market should we first
Mm.
uh, reach out to?
Mm.
How are the people there currently engaged?
Mm.
What are their current systems available to them?
Mm.
And what all they want more? So
Mm.
these are what we are posing. Right now, we'll be working more and slowly and steadily as things come, we'll.
Mm. Very interesting. Jay, you're also developing Grapes Club as an e-commerce platform. One is the information and knowledge that you're building, and the
Yeah,
second is the e-commerce part.
yes.
Uh, Tell me a little bit about the kind of products that you are handling on your e-commerce platform, and what are some of your learnings and challenges? Because supply chain is always a big problem for an e-commerce platform.
Definitely, sir. So e-commerce right now is in making. So we'll be opening up shortly in a few months. So
Mhm.
first that. Secondly, as far as the supply chain and the products are concerned, so right now we'll start with a small ticket size, which so common products which can help your ADLs,
Mhm.
which are activities of daily living.
Mhm.
So maybe a hand stick, maybe some better product which is available for the visually impaired
Mhm.
or even the locomotive disabled people. So we'll have such product categories made first.
Mhm.
Then we'll search what all products are available for that category, and
Mhm.
then we'll categorize that what the current
Yeah,
population has and what we can get them more.
absolutely.
And then we'll talk with the providers, and
Mhm.
then the operations team will kick in
Okay,
and will onboard them.
very interesting. You also spoke a little bit about the elderly disabled and the elderly
Definitely.
community. And of course, maybe when as one gets older, and I'm 66 now, there will be a lot of needs as one gets older, which may not necessarily be so easily available. Do you see a role for Grapes Club to go beyond just the disabled community and getting into the elderly community as well?
Definitely, sir.
Mm.
See, an elderly person is a person whose body, due to his or her age, has started to wear out.
Mm.
There are many diseases related to and many problems related to bending, to their locomotive disability, to their eyes.
Mm.
So there are many products which disabled people use, such as even if let's take a common example, we have all seen elderly people use wheelchairs to move around.
Correct.
We have also seen wheelchairs used by a locomotive disabled person who can't walk.
Mm.
So similarly, that's the case here. Even my own grandmother who came to my house once, so I had bought her the hand stick to pick up stuff from ground. So even she used that product, and she was delighted that she need not bend
Mm.
anymore, because only small things they tend to slip out of hand,
Mm.
a pen or maybe a spoon or something like
Correct.
that. So that stick is capable to lift at least 5 kgs of weight.
Wow.
And with these small things, it is very easy for her to pick up stuff. Why bend when you can have that product? So
Exactly.
similarly, the many products which can be used by the elderly community.
Mm.
Out of 1 lakh people of India, around 5,700 people are elderly. So
Mm.
these are the statistics of the 2011 census
Yeah.
which we got. So, taking that into account, we have huge scopes of getting elderly people the support, the products and services they need.
Mm. Very interesting.
Yeah.
Jay, now coming back to the first one of the first challenge you spoke about, which is inclusiveness in society. Uh, Based on your own experience and interacting with so many different people, What role should society or community play to become more inclusive?
So the couple of things which we as a community can do, which we as a world we can do
Mhm.
is first we can have accessibility systems installed across the buildings and infrastructure.
Mm.
So the thing is, like, even if I have to go to a market or say I want to go to a restaurant, even if I have to go to PhD, I have to first think twice at that how will I sit?
Mm.
How will I reach there? And
Mm.
what are there any stairs or not? That's my
Right.
first question
Mm.
that always comes to my mind. Okay, how will I sit and eat? How will I reach there? And
Mm.
how? So
Mm.
that how that needs to be
Mm.
catered. That's the first challenge. Secondly,
Mm.
schools they need to be a little bit more empathetic towards disabled people, even
Correct.
if you have 7 or 8 disabled people in your school which has about 2000 students,
Mm.
and if you have a lift, it's your good deed, it's your own goodness which you should do, that you should
Correct.
open the lift, you should allow the child to use the lift and not climb the stairs to the
Mm.
third floor. And
Mm.
even if you can't do, at least have the simple empathy to have a ground floor class.
Mm.
That was one challenge which I faced in my
Mm.
schooling time. Secondly, our children, our youth, they need to be taught on how to approach a disabled child. As I said before, that we people, the disabled people, they are introvert.
Mm.
They need time to get used to someone's presence,
Right.
used to how the community works.
Mm.
And because they have been living with their parents and being highly dependent on them.
Mm.
So for them, it's a whole new challenge and a whole new space.
Mm. Very interesting. And you're so right. I mean, most of the condominium complexes that we live in, I don't think they still have even as something as simple as wheelchair access, a ramp.
Exactly.
So you
Airports, they don't have a air bridge. Other airports, Delhi airport does have one, but others they don't.
Hmm, well said. The
Yeah,
other thing that is there also is that, you know, and I'm going to use a little loose term, that the Western world
yeah,
seems to have understood what needs to be done and become, disabled friendly.
yeah.
Uh, what do you think the government should be doing in our country through legislation to make access and inclusion more friendly?
Yeah. So one second, sir. Just one second. Apologies.
So, Jay, I have noticed, in all my travels in the Western world, that very, very often one sees that the Western world is very, very disabled friendly. They've provided infrastructure, etc., etc. I don't see that still in our country. What, in your opinion, should the government of India and the government of the states be doing to either through legislation or through encouragement to make our country more aware and be more inclusive?
Definitely, sir. Western states, countries, they have always had that broad look towards a disabled guy or a disabled community. They have understood because they see that today we are what we say a normal gentry.
Mm.
But as in when we get old, as in
Mm.
when age comes in, time kicks in,
Mm.
will have some sort of disability before we move on to our next
Mm.
bodies.
Mm.
So they have they've very nicely adopted the fact that there needs to be always a ramp, a lift, and other possible accessible systems installed across
Mm.
their buildings
Correct.
and infrastructure, be it parks, be it a simple shop. They have such beautiful lifts that work on such low electricity and such low cost. You
Mm.
just have to plug in your wheelchair, and then the system will lift you up, and then you can move around. Because
Correct.
everybody understands that you can't always have ramps everywhere because space is a big challenge
Right.
for everywhere.
Mm.
So India, as in the government, can do lots and lots of legislation work for the disabled community.
Mm.
As simple as having a working lift in all around offices, like be it a government office, be it a small building that works for a small company. So something like that, they can have a small lift. They
Mm,
can have a person assisting the disabled guy who's trying to
mm,
reach the destination. They can have easy cashless payments right now due to the global pandemic. India has moved to a digital economy.
mm,
More cashless payments have been happening. People have started adopting to
mm,
e-commerce sites better.
mm.
So with that, now something like this, like now you can get your groceries delivered at your doorstep
Yeah.
in 30-40 minutes. So something like that is very helpful for a disabled guy.
Mm,
Why should he get on his wheelchair or his aid and then go to the market, then buy all the
yeah.
stuff and then
Mm,
bring it? So things like that. So companies can they have provided such
mm.
services. Government can make things more accessible and have better schemes for the disabled people. So that's way they
Fantastic.
can do.
Fantastic. And my last question to you, Jay, and this is for the many, many people who will listen to our conversation. Based on all the wonderful stuff that you are doing, what do you think are three lessons you want to share with our viewers and listeners?
So the first lesson which I experienced
Mm,
is that technology is for the business.
yeah.
Business is not for the technology.
Okay.
Often we tend to build technology that is not necessary.
Yeah.
Like you can work without it for a few months and you can build it. So
Yeah.
that's one.
Yeah.
Secondly, you have to always control your expenditure
Mm,
because when you're a newborn startup, people don't have much faith in your business.
yeah.
People are reluctant to put money in your system.
Correct.
So, with the funds which you have gathered with such encouragement and such dedication,
Mm,
you need to be very wise in spending how much money should be spent. So,
mm,
always work on a low cost model
mm,
and prefer that you can get more and more out of
mm,
small money spent.
mm,
Thirdly, advertisement is all good.
mm,
But first, we have to always have our business model
mm.
settled correctly. You need
Yeah.
to have a very good business model. You need to be very clear on how you have to implement it
Yeah.
and how you have to get people used to it. So these are the three lessons which we can in use in our ventures, be it
Mm,
any venture, be it disabled, non-disabled, or be it a simple marketplace.
correct.
Start manually,
Mm.
then work your way up.
Wonderful. Wonderful. Jay, on that note, and your three wonderful lessons, is technology is for business, business is not for technology. Control your expenditure, which is so, so important for everybody. And the third one is advertising is very, very good, but make sure you have your clear and cogent business plan that you want to be able
Definitely.
to implement. Thank you so much for speaking to me about Grapes Club, about all the wonderful that work that you are doing to support such a large community of people. Thank you also for sharing your thoughts with me on how society, the government can actually play a role and become more inclusive. I can just say right at the end is that talking to you, I'm sure you are an inspiration to many, many young people and many old people like me. Keep doing everything that you're doing. I'm sure you'll see lots and lots of success. All the very best. Thank you.
Thank you so much, sir, for your wonderful wishes and hoping for the best future for everyone. And best of luck to each and every young entrepreneur or old entrepreneur trying to build their businesses. And best of luck.
Thank
Thank you.
you. Thank you for listening to the brand called You Videocast and Podcast, a platform that brings you knowledge, experience, and wisdom of hundreds of successful individuals from around the world. Do visit our website www.tbcy.in to watch and listen to the stories of many more individuals. You can also follow us on YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. Just search for the brand called You.